Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Khalil Doheny, and I'm Director of Content Marketing at Digital Niche Agency. Today, we have the team of Your Vote Matters team. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Great.
Pretty
Awesome.
good. Thanks for having us.
Of course. And, this is going to be a really interesting webinar. We're going to talk about the movie. We're going to play the trailer here in a second. But while people are trickling in, Cass, do you want to kind of just give a little bit of a background, say who you are and really, just give me one little tidbit of what you've enjoyed so far about the movie. So James, we'll start with you.
Sure. My name is James Orfanos. I'm one of the producers of Your Vote Matters. And this is, I've done a couple of projects with David right now. We had done another project a couple of years ago, A Good Cop, now Your Vote Matters. And one of the favorite things about it, the whole process of making it, this is actually one of the most fun projects to make. And I'm sure we'll get into that as we go on.
Awesome. Lauren, what about you?
Sure. So I'm Lauren. I play Anna Summers in the film. I'm an actress and producer. One of the most fun things about the film, there were a lot of really fun things about making this film. I didn't expect my month and a half in Port Jervis to be so much fun, actually. But one that really comes to mind is that we had to coordinate a tackling scene with this very kind, small girl that I needed to tackle. And, I don't really consider myself somebody who plays football or would be particularly good at tackling, but it was a lot more fun than I expected. So that was probably a highlight.
There you go. Rinzen, how about you?
Hi, my name's Rinzen, and I'm playing Tim, the boyfriend. And me, the fun thing, every day was fun for me. I just like being on set, seeing how the movies are made, and yeah, every day was fun for me.
Awesome. David?
So I'm David Chai. I'm the writer and director of Your Vote Matters. And this movie was really fun for me because it's my first foray into more of a comedy drama kind of film. But I had such great cast, and working with Lauren was fantastic because just from the initial audition, she came in all dressed up in a pink suit, and she was by far the funniest person that we saw. So I was like, wow, I had written this. I knew there were some funny lines in there, but she really took it up a notch to bring out the comedy. And I thought, you know what? If we get Lauren, we can really make this into something really special.
Yeah. And lastly, we have Chris.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris from the Epoch Times. For us, as a nonprofit organization, all we want to do is to do something positive, and for us, it's about the awareness about the public's issues, and Your Vote Matters just fits to that our mission and our focus. So that's why we do everything we can to help out and promote this project.
Yeah. And to kind of just set the groundwork for today's discussion, right now we're going to play the trailer for the film, and then the cast and the crew are going to have just an open discussion. And if there's at any moment there is a Q&A, please ask it in the question box below, and we're going to make sure we get all your questions answered. So with that being said, let me go ahead and share my screen. Oops.
I just opened the store recently.
Just opened? You're brave.
Hi! Can I help you?
This would make a prime target for thieves.
Told you that opening a store here was not a good idea in this economic climate.
Dad, it's okay. It's just one bag.
Maybe one today, but what about tomorrow?
Much I can do. Sorry. Of course the police can't do anything. They just follow the laws. They don't make them.
What is Anna supposed to do?
You don't like the laws? Then run for office and change them.
Are you sick and tired of the same old corrupt people running your town? Maybe it's time for a change. Both Anna Summers for mayor.
Do you have a family history in politics?
I don't know anything about politics.
Apart from her look, she really doesn't have much going for her.
You don't want to play in the world of politics. It's mean, it's nasty, it's ruthless.
Nice apple.
Hi, I'm collecting signatures for Anna Summers to run for local election.
Got any shortcuts?
Sure, buy some signatures.
Wait, you're serious? I'm Anna Summers, running for mayor.
Kind of young, aren't you? Are you a Democrat or Republican?
Neither, actually. I'm an independent.
Independent? Only losers run independent. Convincing people is a lot harder than buying them off.
Oh, I'm not trying to convert you.
And what do you want? What are you selling?
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Why do you say that?
You're a politician. Politicians never keep their promises.
Most people sell out without a second thought, but you stood your ground. You showed passion and conviction.
Really?
You don't think she's actually gonna win, do you?
So the whole thing is rigged.
Yes, pretty much.
Who would trust a floozy like you?
What's happened to our country? I'm going to come here to save this town, not just sell you out to the highest bidder.
Anna, that's how politics works.
And the final tally is in. Isn't it better to just get a guard dog?
Awesome. Well, to kind of just kick everything started, where did the inception of this movie come about? Let me. So whoever wants to.
Yeah, I'll begin since I came up with the idea. So actually, this was inspired by a friend of mine, because I have a friend who ran for a local election in New Jersey, and she was telling me all these stories about how she couldn't believe the level of corruption inside this small town in New Jersey, and she was like, I can't imagine what it's like in Washington. And I thought that's very interesting, a small town. And the reason she was running was she hated how they were basically ignoring the needs of the residents, and they were just trying to build condos. And so I took that gem of an idea and I thought, okay, there's something really interesting here, because people think about politics, they think about presidential elections or governor or mayor, but what about these local elections? What about these closer to home elections, which actually affect you a great deal? And so that was the initial impetus for the story. And I created a pitch deck for NTD and Epoch, and essentially I said, hey, what about a film about a small town election during the election season? And they decided to go for it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that, what David said is 100% true, where when people think of elections, first thing that comes to mind, especially in an election year like this, is the presidential election. And a lot of people take the attitude of, what does my vote really even mean in the face of, the whole national election? And but one of the messages of this film is, maybe on a grand scale, on a national scale, one person's vote, depending on your state, might not matter so much. But in a local election, I mean, there are local elections out there that are determined by 10 votes. So you really can make a difference on a local scale if you get involved. And that's one of the messages of this film.
Definitely. And I also think it's the local policies that will really affect you right at home too. And I think that's something that I was really inspired to and immediately drawn to when I was cast as Anna, is that Anna's just a really good person who wanted to make a difference in her town. And I think that sometimes when we're thinking about party, we often vote for the party that we feel like aligns with us mostly, instead of just looking at who the person is and what do they stand for. And there's this scene with Anna in the film where Sal Rendino, who plays Jonathan Andrews, who's an amazing character and an amazing actor, he's sort of drilling Anna on what she believes in her policies. And she's really forced to think about, this is what I stand for, this isn't what I stand for. And I think that that's something that we often lose in the grand scope of politics, is just really, who is this person and what do they believe in?
And Chris, what really stood out of the film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I'm an immigrant from China, and and in China, of course, it's a communist country. Nobody really can vote. So when I came to this country back in 1989, I was kind of very, it's a free country, and kind of excited about the American democracy. But I don't really understand how, the politics and how to vote. So to me personally, it's really about education and awareness. And I think a lot of us can relate to, a lot of us, the immigrants, can relate to this movie because we appreciate the American democracy, and we want to understand how it works. And I think this movie is that, and it's a great movie, and we want to support it. We wanted to promote it. I think a lot of people will appreciate it and can understand. It's not about politics, but it's really about how everything works, storytelling, the things, entertaining. And that's why the NTD, Epoch Times, as a nonprofit organization, we do as much as we can to do something to help the public to understand what the American democracy is about, voting, and of course we see lots of issues right now, right, in terms of politics. But what really matters, so I think people can learn a lot from this movie.
Yeah, and then with this movie, there is a huge educational aspect to it as well as entertainment. How what challenges did you face in balancing that entertainment with the educational aspects of the film?
Well,
Yes.
it's my belief that film has to be entertainment first. If you want to say anything but it's not entertaining, like nobody sits at school and goes, "Wow, this is so much fun. I want to learn some more." So, first things you always have to have an entertaining story, entertaining characters, and then if you're able to put an educational component in there, which organically fits into the story, it makes sense. And in this case, because Anna wants to run for office and she doesn't know anything about politics, so she, as a character, has to learn everything it takes to run for a local election. And through that process, the viewer sees her journey and sees all the tribulations and all the fun stuff that she has to go through. And then they can be laughing at all the things all the obstacles she has to overcome, but also they can go, "Oh, wow, that's all the steps that I need to do if I want to run for a local election." So it has to be intrinsic to the story. You don't want to just suddenly have a lecture and someone says, "Here, this is what you need to do." No, let's just see her doing it, and let that entertain you as you learn.
Yeah, and in this story, Anna Summers, our main character, played by Lauren, she's coming at this. She's not a career politician. She's coming at this from a place where she actually sees a problem. She wants to solve it, and it's a relatable film, I think, to pretty much anybody who has had to go into something without the resources of some of their competitors, let's say, and go into something. And how do you make a change? And it's not just about politics. It's also just about that. It's about how do you go into something from a pure standpoint against career people who have all the resources. And I mean, they might come out from a pure place or not, but poor Anna is out there kind of by herself.
Yeah, and to add to that, my mom actually is a career politician and also a college professor. So when I was cast in this role, I was really excited for her to have to read the script. And she read it and she was immediately like, "Oh my God, this is really important and also so educational." And I think from her background as having been in politics her entire life, but also a teacher, she could really see the value in the script. And me coming from entertainment, I think sometimes it's hard for her to understand where the value is in entertainment and how entertainment can also be educational. So it was a really fun blending of the worlds, I think.
If there has to be that one takeaway you want a viewer to get out of this film, what would that takeaway be?
I think the takeaway would be to get involved in local elections because really, I mean, presidential elections, which again dominates headlines for obvious reasons. Local, presidential elections isn't going to fix, potholes in your streets or local crime rates or anything that's happening locally. That's your local politicians. So whether you're someone who is really into politics and you want to affect change, or you only care about local things, local politics is really the way to go.
Yeah. And then, it seemed like you guys are all good friends. How was that dynamic behind the scenes? Can you guys share any moments, any fun times, anything that really stands out?
Hmm.
I mean, honestly, I think, again, David and I had worked together before this. And of course, we got to know Lauren and Rinzin during the audition process and during the rehearsals and everything. But it really wasn't until shooting that everyone gets really close together, right? That's when you're shooting you're shooting at night, you're shooting the daytime, people are tired, they're hungry, everybody comes together. I think by the end of it, everybody was close friends. And this was definitely one of the most fun films to shoot. Also, because most people came from New York City, somewhere from New York City, and we were shooting out in Port Jervis. There was a lot of logistics in terms of who's driving, who's taking trains, people are getting picked up. We had housing up there that everybody stayed in when we were shooting. So even offset, people are getting food together afterwards or hanging out together after. So it was just a fun time. It was really a fun time overall. And like David said, the film has a fairly comedic, it has a somewhat comedic tongue-in-cheek feel to it. And that kind of filtered to Offset also, where it was just a fun time. It was a light time.
Yeah, definitely. We had a rehearsal before we actually head out to Fort Jervis, and David played a song that reminded him of each character. And my song was Dance the Night from Barbie. And I think that just immediately set the tone for what the project was going to be like. And it really shed like all of those awkward feelings about having to get to know each other because we all had to dance in front of each other in this office room in New York. So we became pretty fast friends quickly. And David is a really fun director to work with because he gives you a lot of room to play. He's clear on what he wants, but he also just wants you to have fun as the character. So I think that also made it easier for us all to become friends. I became really close with Rachel Frost, who plays my best friend in the film and Rinzin's girlfriend. So much so that I've now gone to her Pilates classes with her. And she even came to my birthday party recently. So it's one of those experiences that really lasts with you throughout your career.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing actually to because when I was casting the best friend of Anna, I had to test the chemistry. So I actually had 4 different girls read with opposite Anna and Rinzin to see if they were going to work together as friends. And Rachel by far just it was almost like an immediate chemistry between those two. They were just so comfortable with each other, and yeah, it definitely translated to the movie.
Yeah, in terms of casting, oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna ask Rinzin if he had any behind the scenes favorite moments.
Oh, I have a bad memory, so I kind of forgot a little bit. But yeah, I just hit the gym a lot, and then I got stuck because over there they didn't have Uber, and I had to find out like a taxi cab. So I kept calling the taxi cab, and it was like one of the dirtiest taxis, and they were like they had like an attitude. So yeah, every time I took a taxi to go to the gym, and just after set, I went to the gym a lot. Yeah, that was.
We started calling Rinzin the Planet Fitness legend because of how much time he spent at the gym.
There you go. And James, sorry to cut you off. You go ahead with what you were saying.
Oh no, yeah, I was just going to say that on the topic of the casting and auditions and all that, it was really cool because there's a lot of talented actors out there. So when we were doing the auditions, people come in and there's some good people, and really Lauren and Rinzin, when they came in, Lauren had a pretty unique take on the character. She really had, and I remember David just lit up when she had walked out of the room. It was like, because again, there was a lot of really good actors that came in, but Lauren really had, she nailed the tone of the film without really knowing what it was. Like David said, she came in with the pink, the pink suit, and she has also, Lauren, you got like stand-up comedy experience, I believe. So she brought a comedic, some comedic talent to it also which fit perfectly. So that was a lot of fun seeing these characters just come to life right in front of us. And it's like, you know what, this is probably going to be Anna, and Rinzin, of course, did an amazing job in his audition. So yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. And Chris, I'd like to hear from you. I know we're currently, we're going to be running a campaign here.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. For us is, you know, we this is such a positive film, and I think it really could benefit the public. That's what we want, and that's why we're trying to promote it and draw the awareness as much as we can. So right now we are, you know, I know David for a long time, and this film is just really about how to help the public to understand how election works. It's entertaining. It's not, you know, just trying to educate you, but through a movie. It's just a movie. So I think it's a very meaningful and a good project for us. And we're doing as much as we can to get the news out, let people know. And I think you know, so we're doing the crowdfunding to get people support as well. And all the supports from the public, we're gonna, you know, reinvest to promote it, to see what we can do, and get people to see it. And that's all we want, is to get people to see the film. And I think it's gonna, you know, I think people are gonna like it.
Awesome. And where can people get more information about the film? You know, what are the next steps for the film? You know, just while we wrap up here.
Sure, we're doing the crowdfunding. We plan to launch it maybe in a couple of weeks. And if that results is, you know, meet our expectation, then we're gonna do more to, we're gonna have a strategy and plan to promote it and then get to the public. Maybe to theatrical release, maybe the other methods, so people can watch it. As a nonprofit organization, our intention is to get as many people to see it as possible. So let's see what happens. So the crowdfunding will definitely help with that initiative and our intention. So
awesome. And you know, just for everyone, is there anything, you know, that you want to leave the audience with, that is currently in the audience now or watching this recording down the line, before we wrap up here?
Definitely educate yourself about politics. Find out who is actually running and what they're going to do for you. Don't just blindly vote or waste your vote, because it does matter. Your vote matters.
Definitely. And I think don't get caught up in where you are and the rhetoric that your vote doesn't matter because you're in a one-color state. Know that your vote matters wherever you are, because just as you can see in these local elections, the people who you elect really do have a difference in your communities.
Yeah, one thing I'll add to that is in terms of learning about politics, Your Vote Matters is a fun way to learn about politics. Anna comes into this not knowing anything about it, runs for mayor in a small town. By the end of the film, she's going to know about politics, but the audience is kind of right along there with her, learning the entire time. So it's, in terms of learning about this topic, this is a fun way of doing it.
Awesome. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in. I think we could wrap it there. I want to thank everyone here for taking the time out of your day to talk about the film, and thank you everyone in the audience. This webinar has been recorded, so we will be sending out a replay of the recording, so be on the lookout for that. Team, thank you so much for your time, and hope everyone has a good rest of their day.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.